All right. Hello, everyone, again. It's been a while. My old camera phone just stopped working all of a sudden, and I had to get a new one. And I'm not quite sure how to use it, so hopefully the audio comes out okay. Hopefully the picture comes out okay. I'm still sort of figuring it out. This video is gonna be for the purpose of just an update of what's going on and how I'm doing with everything. Just because I haven't released a video in quite a while now. So first thing that happened is obviously I got a new camera phone because the old one just up and stopped working. And also I'm dealing with a internal issue with my YouTube account, some kind of fraud investigation or something is preventing me from certain actions, so I may not even be able to upload this video when I think I'm going to. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully I can get that worked out. They say they're working on it, but they also say it's going to take forever because of COVID, which is bullshit, but whatever. We'll just let them do their thing. As for the projects that I've got going on, transmission on this is done. It's got a lockup solenoid, I think, out of it. I don't know for sure. I'm going to test drive it actually after I'm done recording this and see if it's, I disconnected it. I'm going to test drive it and see if it still does the lockup, stall conversion failure, which is what's happening is when you shift down from overdrive or third gear, it doesn't disengage lockup and causes the engine to sort of, what's a good way to describe it? Lug. It lugs the engine, like a manual transmission would if you weren't letting the clutch out. When you let the clutch out too soon, it lugs the engine and makes the car want to stall, which is what this does. So I disconnected that, and I'll test drive it and see. As for the leak, I know it looks like it just puked out all the tranny fluid, but actually, that's less than half a quart. It's odd that oil does that when it goes in the ground, but you could, drop like a teaspoon oil right there in the ground and leave it sit overnight, and it would look like you just dumped a whole gallon. So it looks like a lot, but it's actually not that much. And to confirm that I don't blow this transmission up from a mistake like that, I actually did the sort of calculations on where the cold fill line is on this transmission, so I can check the tranny fluid every single time before I operate it to make sure that I don't blow it up. And the old cars like this don't have a cold fill line on them like new ones do, so you kind of have to guess. But what I did is I fully warmed it and then let it cool down all the way, so it would, I knew it was I fully warmed it, checked it, topped it off, made sure it was full, and then let it cool down all the way. It only dripped out a couple of drips, so it's not even that big of a deal. And then once it cooled down and filled back up, I found that the actual fill line of this is just short of, let's see if I can actually do this a little bit better here. This little hole right here in the middle of a dipstick, not sure what its purpose actually is, but conveniently enough, when the fluid is full, it rests just at the bottom of that little hole right there. Right there, that's the cold fill line, which is a little higher than the hot fill line, which is all the way down there. So at the top of a T of full hot, that's the full cold line. So before I start it, before I drive it, I am always going to check that and make sure that it is between here and here in this little circle, if you will. So that is what's going on with this one. Let's see if I can put this back in one-handed, huh? Oh, there we go. So that's what's going on with the 98 here. As for what else I've been up to is, if we walk outside, I'm not completely sure how to pause this one, this camera, so I'll have to figure that out. I went and bought this beauty right here. And this, don't worry, I'm not going to actually fix this up and drive it. This is a parts car. It's got the transmission I'm after and the cross member and mounting hardware that I'm after. But not only does it have that, this is an 88. So that means everything from the front doors forward is usable for me. So I'm going to be taking the drive shaft, I'm going to be taking some interior trim, I'm going to be taking the mirrors, this front clip here, the bumpers, all that stuff I'm taking off of it. Trim, you know, this hood piece right here. Unfortunately, the ornament's broken off already, so I can't take that, but I'm taking this antenna, all the trim, everything like that is coming off so I can use it. This looks like crap on camera, but this is just moss. This will sand right off, and I'm going to repaint it to my color anyway. So taking this front clip, it's not cracked. It's the 2-piece front clip instead of, or the 3-piece front clip instead of the 2-piece. So it's got grill, and then the front clip drapes down like that, which is not like the other one where it's just the header panel and then the grill is all one piece. So that is what I've got going on here. And really, what I'm going to do here with this, oh my god, it's kind of nasty in here. There's mouse shit all over the place, but look at this. That radio isn't seized up. That still works. So we're going to be taking the radio. I'm going to be taking that analog clock right there. Probably the gauge clusters. That mirror. There's not much really in the glove box. There's this vehicle papers for Clara Nelson and Stan Young. That's, I'll have to look at that after I'm done recording this. But all in all, you know, all I'm gonna do with this is put a couple of tires on it so it can actually, that one holds air, but that one does not hold air. And obviously, I mean, look at that. And then the other one over here, that one don't hold air, and that one don't hold air. Probably could if I worked at it, though. It doesn't really look as bad as the others. Anyway, I'm gonna get some tires on it so I can push around the property easier. And I'm gonna pour gas down the carb and see if she'll start up so I can see if the engine's locked up. I'm not gonna keep the engine. I will be selling that, so if anybody's interested in an old 307 from 1982, I believe this car is. I don't know how many miles it's got on it. The odometer says 7,000, so I'm gonna assume that's 107 or maybe even 207,000 based on the shape of this car. But if anybody wants that, let me know in the comments. I will be selling that. Everything else I'm keeping. Yeah, not much else to tell. I'm gonna pour gas on the carb, see if it fires, see if the engine's actually good or not. Gonna pop the trunk and see what's inside, which I'll actually do on camera for you guys here. As many other YouTubers say, it's always interesting. The first thing you want to do when you buy an old car like this is pop the trunk, because if you see like a water pump or a radiator or something in the trunk, you kind of have a feel for what you're going to be getting yourself into here. So let me see if I can pause this camera, huh? All right, hopefully that worked. What's really interesting and kind of unfortunate about this car is that, you know, it's sad that it's so clapped, because look at that. It's got the original keys. They're not even bent or rusty, which probably leads me to believe that they're either recrafted or recut, or this car only has 107,000 miles on it. But apart from that, it came with a clean title. It's never been in an accident. It's never been totaled. It's never, you know, clean title and a bill of sale from the dealership. So I have all the original documentation for this car. If it wasn't so destroyed, and if it wasn't going to be a donation to be a you know, parts car for me, this car would actually be a decent project for somebody who's looking to get into these kinds of things. But I already took the rear bumper off. It was dangling, so we had to pull it off to load it. But let's actually see what we got here in the trunk. If it will open, I don't know. Oh, let's see. Let me see if I can. Unfortunately, the trunk does not open, which is sucky. I'll probably end up drilling that out to get the trunk open, because I do want to know what we have in the trunk. And I'm not going to be reusing this trunk. It's dented. It's got a big old dent right here, so it's not going to be reused. I'll be keeping these taillights, but selling them. So if anybody needs taillights for an old 88, you can have those. I got some tires in the back I'm going to throw on there. This window doesn't work. It's like that. None of the windows work. We had to hook up a battery to it to roll the windows down so I could crawl in and out of the car when it was in the trailer. But this was the only one that the motor worked, and it didn't even roll it down. You could hear it running. So we just grabbed a pry bar and put it between the glass and the door and shoved it down. So that's trashed. But yeah. This is what I've been doing. I drove 600 miles to get this car. So it was a 1,200 mile trip, round trip, to get this thing. Quite the deal. But yeah, let me get out of the cold here and wrap this up. All right, so what I'm going to be doing for the next, probably a few months is stripping down the 88 outside, getting that all, everything I need off of it. And what I'm going to be doing is I'll be taking the radiator, cruise control, master cylinder booster, that vacuum doodad over there, heater core, all of, everything, air cleaner assembly. It doesn't have a battery, so I guess I can't take a battery, but I'm going to be taking the AC pump, smog pump, power steering, alternator, all the belt-driven stuff, all the vacuum stuff that's not eaten by mice. I'm going to try and get some harness equipment off it so I can maybe fix my cruise control issue. It's a long shot, but it might work. Taking the front clip. I might be taking the fender off. I don't know yet. Taking the power antenna motor, mirrors, trim, interior stuff like the radio and the clock. All the favorites, all the good stuff, bumpers, all that stuff. Taking that off. And most importantly, I'm taking the transmission. And originally, I had thought that it had a 350 transmission, TH350. But actually, that car did not come with one, which is interesting because that is a Royale Brougham out there. That would have been the top of the line model Oldsmobile. But interestingly enough, it has the analog radio with no tape deck, which is odd for the top of the line model of the 88 anyways. This is the top of the line model Oldsmobile, but this wasn't even the top. Anyway, it doesn't have cornering lights, doesn't have any of the luxury features, but it's a Royale Brougham, which means it had to have some luxury features. It's got the soft top, and it's got the 307 instead of a 38, so I mean it's got that, but it doesn't actually have a 350. It has a 250, which I didn't even know existed until I saw what it was and I had to research it, and I will explain this more when I get to it in the video. But a turbo 250 is a modified version of a turbo 350. A 350 has a second gear intermediate piston and clutch. A 250 does not have a second gear piston. It has a second gear band, which we all know how much people love band transmissions, like this one. They have a high failure rate, they don't last very long, they overheat, all that stuff, but it's a 3-speed and it's what I need. And if all else fails, I'm going to be going to South Dakota tomorrow to pick up a 350 core anyway, so I'll have a spare one. But yeah, it's got a 250 instead of a 350, and I will be doing a video on that. I know I said I wasn't doing any more transmission videos, but I lied because the 250 is right up my alley of unknown stuff. There's like no videos there. I could find one video on YouTube about the 250, and that is it. And it wasn't even a rebuild video. It was just the guy complaining about how much of a hassle they are and how stupid they are. So I will be doing a rebuild video on that 250 when I get to it. But apart from that, the videos are going to be pretty scarce for the next couple of months because, as you can see, I have fixed this car for the most part, and there's not really much else I can do until it warms up. So until the next time, hope you enjoyed this.